One of the best practices that I like to start the year with is going through a small mental inventory of those books that I finish throughout the year, but for some reason, I do not need to keep them in my physical collection because either I DNF them or I read at least 100 pages and I did not agree with the book, or I did finish the book, but I did not find it interesting enough. So, in this video, what I want to show you is the small stack that I'm going to be donating of those books that, for whatever reason, they did not work for me. So, they're being ready to be in the hands of someone that can appreciate them. So, do not go anywhere and let's just get going right now. But before we get started, hi everyone. Thank you for your time today and tuning in and spending some time with me so we can talk a little bit about books and all those things that we read. In case you are new here or if you have a return, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. My name is Yersi and I hope you like this. So, in case you wonder, this is my stash that I have here in the back. So, I'm going to be moving a little bit back and forth so I can show you the books. And my first pick, obviously, is I Wanna Die, But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki by Baek Se-hee. And this is a book. And this is okay. This is not the worst that I've read last year. But my problem with the book is that it glorifies narcissistic behavior and also the overly use of prescription medication. And mind you, this is a non-fiction book. This is actually the real account of the author and her experiences with personality disorders and depression. So she walks us through all her insecurities and how she perceives life and how she treats people, her relationship with others. But like I said, the overuse of prescription medication here was a little bit glorified, and we need to be careful about that, especially when we're talking about secondary effects and the dependency that we can create when taking such powerful medications. Also, there's very little accounts of how she went about and addressed her past family trauma and her insecurities and breaking that cycle that actually came from her mom and dad. So again, it's a very short book. It's a book in translation by a Korean author, and it was originally published in Korea. So we really don't know why she picked certain parts of her life to discuss, and we really don't know the fully extent of her therapy with her psychiatrist. But it would have been more interested just to be raw and completely unconcealed and give us a true naked account of everything. It's not the best that I've read, but again, very careful is not something that I need to keep in my physical account. The next book that I'm going to be donating is The Song of the Six Realms by Judy Ling. And this is the book. Again, not the worst that I've read in 2024, but it did not meet my expectations. It's almost 500 pages. There's just a little bit of romance, barely there. There's no chemistry between the characters. There's really no affection. The main character really tells you how much she loved her grandfather, her mentor, her encounters with the devil monsters when she was a child, and the unfulfilled quest for answers about her family past. But you're hitting 200 pages and nothing happens. So it's not the worst that I've read, but if you want to read this, go with an audio, go with an ebook. You don't need the physical book, so I'll just leave it at that. The next one that I also read and I do not need to keep, but I truly enjoyed it. I mean, don't get me wrong, is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. And this is the book. And it was good. It is a very interesting point of view of blended families, and the relationship between the stepmother and the stepdaughter was actually enjoyable. Seeing two people that get to grow each other, get to form a bond. Without having any fallouts, any big cattiness, any distrust. And I think the story went well, the pacing went well, the book is not very long. The twist at the end was a bit weak for my taste, but I did enjoy it. It's just that I do not need to keep it in my stash. But whoever reads this, yeah, you're going to enjoy and have a great time. Why not? Talking about big letdowns, absolutely. My my next book is one of those, and it is How to Stop Time by Matt Haig, and this is a book. Matt Haig has this talent to piss me off for some reason. And the only thing that I'm going to say about this book is if I want to read proper history, I would pick a history book. There's parts of this book that are extremely interesting and very engaging. It's a dual timeline, and the writing is exceptionally good in comparison to other books, to other earlier books by Mac Haig. But I mean, you hit 150 pages and nothing has happened. Everything is in a loop. Nothing is fully explained. And it's just, there's nothing to keep you going. So, how it is. The next one that I have is The Forgotten Cottage by Courtney Ellis. And I had a lot of expectations about this book because I thought that the cover of the book is completely so sweet and so dreamy, so provincial. But again, historical fiction, dual timeline, very interesting. Tells you the story of two women that at the beginning we do not know necessarily how they are connected, but it falls apart. The pacing is wrong. The relationships, the connection between both relationships in both timelines, they just don't make sense. The way they develop the reasoning behind it is just, it doesn't make sense. How the book finishes, how everything envelops towards the end, it leaves you unsatisfied. So no, this did not meet my expectations. Therefore, I do not need to keep it around. Sorry. The next one is The Elegance of the Hedgehog, and this is by Muriel Barberry. And this is the book. The writing of this book is exquisite, without a doubt. You can really tell that this book was written by a professor. And when I did research about the author, indeed, she is a professor. Um, Even though the writing is exquisite and the pacing is okay, it's pretentious, it's obnoxious, it's overly political. Is painted with obviously a lot of resentment. So it's not a book that I enjoyed. It did not entertain me. It did not give me anything to look forward to. So I'll just leave it at that. If you have read it and if you enjoy it, just let me know in the description box why, but not my thing. Not overly pretentious writers, so not my thing. The next one in my list is Goodbye Paris by Anstey Harris. I love this book. I really loved it. I was engaged. I loved the twist at the end. I loved the personal growth of the main character and how she becomes stronger, stronger, stronger. We see themes here of bullying, low self esteem, issues of personal personal development as an artist, as a professional, as how you see yourself. Also, the friendships that get developed into this book is very touching at some point. Even though it was sweet and it was engaging, not overly long, it's definitely not a book that I need to keep. It was not memorable. I loved it. I truly I can recommend it if you want to read something that is not overly sweet, but in terms of having it or purchasing a hardcover, no, it is not necessary in this case. And I'm very sorry to say, but it seems that the theme of my 2024 rating was boring. So if I keep touching on that word, it's because I don't know, I was just bored. And that's what happened with the following book. And this is the Summer Hours at the Robbers Library by Sue Halpern. And this is the book. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there's parts of the book that, are very sweet. There's a sense of community, community service, the engagement that you see yourself when you work in public service, the help and that you receive from others. But it's just that it has a little bit of history, it has a little bit of friendship, it has a little bit of, self discovery, but it's not a book that kept me to my toes. It was a bit long. I mean, for what it was and how it ended, it was overly long. Also, the way the characters connected with each other, at times it felt more like pity rather than true connections and true desire to push others to their full extent and potential. So it's not something that I need to keep around for sure. The next one that I'm going to get rid of is this very mass paperback of A Room with a View and A Howard's End by E.M. Foster's. And oh my God, Ian Forster is one of my favorite writers, and I'm getting rid of this because actually I bought these like for $1, and I hadn't read anything about the author. I wanted to get to know him, and once I finished this, I was just enamored. I really like the writing style, the easiness, the breeziness in which he puts in sentences together. The characters are not pretentious and they're very reliable points of view and also very easygoing female characters. And I actually was able to find a very, very nice edition. Let me just show you very quick. I have it right here. Yes, look at this. And this has multiple books, and this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I love the writing. So if you're looking for a classic that is not going to give you a headache, is not complicated with overly worthy sentences and paragraphs, very short, concise stories, definitely this is for you. I'm gonna leave this in my lap. A book that I'm going to be donating is The Book of Flying by Keith Miller, and this is the book. The writing, the key themes of this book are going to keep you going. You cannot get detached. You need to know what's going on. But it's sinister, it's macabre, it's dark, it's twisted. It's like towards the end, you're like, what did I just read? Did I just spend all this time just reading about cannibalism? It's disturbing. It's disturbing. It's a work of fantasy. It's not long. You can read it in about one day. The book is very nice. It has little illustrations inside. Let me see if I can show you. Very quick. It's very sweet, but it's disturbing. It has little illustrations, but it's disturbing. It's not my thing. It's not a book that I want to keep in my stash, and obviously, it's not an author that I want to keep rediscovering. Sorry. Okay, and the next one, same category. Oh my God, The Book of Lost Things by John Connolly. This is meant to be some kind of middle grade, and John Connolly actually has a devout following, and I had very high expectations about this book, and the book is very interesting. It's a dual timeline. It's like part fantasy and part historical fiction. And I truly liked it. Is I enjoyed it, but the stories are dark, confusing. You're dealing with the darkness of your souls. You are battling your fears. You don't know if it's like all everything that is naive and sweet and all those hidden things that you want to keep in your childhood as precious and sweet and tolerable. It's like you wake up and they become bloody and foggy and dark. I don't know. This was disturbing. I could not sleep. No, thank you. Okay, and last but not least, obviously, is The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. And this is the book. I just have a mass market that I bought in the supermarket. Shh, don't tell anyone. It's just a secret between us. And I really liked it, but this was just like a 3 star. It gave it away. In the first 100 pages, you know what's gonna happen. You know who the murderer is. So not interesting, not many interesting twists, nothing that is worth keeping you reading. If you want to go through it, go with an audio. Don't even bother with an ebook, but definitely not something that I'm going to keep in my stash for sure. And this is it. This is the account of some of the books that I read in 2024, and I'm not going to be keeping in my physical collection, so they're going to be donated this following week. What did you think? Have you read any of this? Do you have any opinions? Let me know if you have read any of these books, what your experiences have been with them, if you like them, if you did not like them. What do you recommend instead that I read? I hope to hear from you. I hope you're having a very great day. I wish that you have an awesome week ahead. And until the next time, take care and bye bye.